Hey, what is going on, you guys? JPB Productions here, and today I am going to be reviewing episode 4 of Survivor 43. So, this episode I liked. This was a lot more fun. I felt like episode 3 was kind of boring and mundane, but I felt like this episode pretty good. I liked it actually. I think it was a good episode. So, looking at this episode as a whole, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the players, some of the things that happened throughout this episode. Um, I believe we didn't get the Summit Island. Yeah. Did we? No, we didn't. No, we didn't. And nobody found the idol because that was last episode, where where Carla found it and then she got all the beads. So nobody found any idols. There was no summit. So this felt like a very pure, classic, regular episode of Survivor, which I kind of liked it for that reason. Um, so the episode starts off pretty much like so right when the episode begins, they get back from tribal council, and everyone's kind of just glad that they survived. Um, so that's what happened with that. I don't remember what the communication was like, but it seemed like they were very sad that NECA went home. And then we head into the reward challenge, and it was I thought the reward challenge was cool. It was very interesting how they had to take two blocks and they had to like kick one of them and roll it, and they had to do it on their own. It was a very original challenge because we've actually never seen that challenge that way before. We've seen a similar version to it, but the way how they did it with the walking on the little pegs is very different from what they usually do. In Worlds Apart, I remember that there was that burger reward where they had to like balance on the barrels or something. But yeah, so this was pretty similar to that, but this was a brand new challenge. So yeah, it was cool to see. And what happened? So Vessi got first place. So Vessi has done pretty bad in challenges as of late. You know, they lost the second and third immunity challenge. So they've already lost two tribe members, and they were able to get first place in this challenge. And then the other two tribes walk away, and they also had that whole like kidnapping thing, which is they stepped into the old school a little bit where you had Cody go. I was so happy that Cody was the one that they sent. We'll talk about that in a second. Um, so you have Jeff negotiating with them, and they basically said I think it was a fishing reward that they won. They won a bunch of fish. Oh yeah, because they were talking about how like they didn't really feel like it would be the same experience as sushi to eat the raw fish. So they wanted a flint. They felt like it was easier to live life that way. So Jeff allowed it. He allowed the trade. And I mean, yeah, fire kind of is like the most important amenity. So I don't blame them at all for doing that. So they had to then that Vessi tribe had to then send somebody to go. I don't know why the hell they picked Cody. I guess they just didn't care enough. So Cody was just so free spirited, and we've really gotten to know Cody really well. He's a great character, but with the way that what I love about this too, like not only is he getting like so much content, but like he's getting so much content while also being entertaining. Meaning he's someone who is one of the biggest characters in the season, maybe the biggest. Who else would it be? Gabler? I think honestly, I think Cody's probably the biggest character on this season. But based on the way that he's edited, I also think he's going to be in it for a while. So yeah, he's. I'm very excited to see how he's gonna approach this game, how he's gonna move forward. So yeah, Cody goes and he's doing all this negotiating, and they're trying to negotiate back to him. It was a really funny exchange. So and then Cody's just like super excited on the boat when he leaves. It was a funny moment. So yeah, we got all that, and okay, I'm wondering what else I should talk about here. So yeah, Cody does all that. Um, trying to think. Um, okay, so yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the challenge. So with the challenge, we had did Baca finish first? No, I think Vessi finished first. I think Vessi finished first, and they were like helping Baca. They were like, "Yo, like we need to beat Coco because if they go into the merge six strong, like they have to lose at least one tribe member, because if they go into the mergatory six strong and they're able to get really lucky, they're in the final 11 or potentially 10 with all six still in the game, and they could just annihilate everybody else." So we had them helping each other, and it was a really interesting television. Even though a lot of people might say it's unfair, it's unfair, it's unfair, like we did, like it happens all the time where people are copying each other's puzzles. I mean, like Boston Rob is one of the best players to ever play the game, and yet there were many people that were in Redemption Island saying, "Oh, Ashley Underwood should have won the game because Boston Rob was peeking at Underwood's puzzle. Boston Rob should have lost that, gone home 3-1, and Ashley should have won the game." But like that happens all the time. It literally happens all the time. So like those two helping each other, like whatever. So I was okay with that. And yeah, I don't blame them at all. I mean, if Coco was gonna lose, then I think now is probably the right time to like make that move. And yeah, I think that Coco having all 6 members going into the fake merge would have been really bad, because they could have just wrecked shop. I mean, yeah, sure, there are summits, but you'd be under the assumption that they would probably be very tight going into a merge. So yeah, it was 100% the right move to do that, and it was really funny seeing James be like, "What the?" was that the episode title? I don't even remember. I think I heard somewhere that "what the" James just saying "what the" when the other two tribes were like helping each other was like the episode title. That could have been for a different episode, but I think I heard that somewhere. I'll check after I'm done this video. I actually don't remember, but I think the episode title was just "what the ... And I actually think if I recall correctly, if I'm correct about this, if I'm incorrect in this, I'm gonna sound kind of like a doofus. But I'm pretty sure the episode was "what the," and I remember like I was like on the VCR and I saw that the episode title was "what the ... And I was like, what is that episode? Because usually the episode title is a bit more metaphorical. It makes a bit more sense. It has something to do with the episode to a very strong extent. With this, that wasn't really the case. It was just "what the." So yeah, James was really angry about that, which is really funny. I mean, we knew from the edit that Coco was going to go to at least one tribal council. They were not going to stick together the entire time. And, I do like that this early on, all 3 tribes went to tribal council. That way we really got to dive into the like how, like, the vibe of the tribe and, like, what the dynamics are. That's the word I was looking for. And I think that I like it, though, that the tribes, like, from a physical standpoint, are pretty even. So that, like, you don't know who's going to go to tribal council every episode. We've seen that all 3 tribes are pretty good in challenges, or are at the same level in challenges. So you can't assume going in any episode that a certain tribe is going to lose. So yeah, that's something that I really do like. So Coco goes to tribal council, and I think Lindsay screwed herself. I don't think that she was going to be even though like the edit portrayed this anyways, I think that the edit didn't hide anything. I think that the edit was correct. I think Lindsay really did shoot herself in the foot after the immunity challenge. I really do think Gio is going to go home. And like Gio honestly could be poised to win this thing at this point. Like I would not be surprised at all if Gio won this game, because like Gio, like, he hasn't had a ton of confessionals, but he gets that one confessional in the last episode that was like 2.5 years long. It was like super long. And then you have him in this episode not look too great, but they're giving him positive content. They're giving him not as good content. And I just feel like, based on what we're seeing, like, I feel pretty confident in this. I feel pretty confident in what I'm about to say. Based on the edit that we're seeing, the winner is either from Coco or the winner is Sammy. I really do feel confident in saying that. I feel very comfortable. So yeah, based on these other other videos that I've made, I've said over and over again how I felt like Lindsay really did have a lot of winner quotes in the first episode. So I was very surprised to see her go home, especially this early. So we could be seeing a lot of red herrings in the edit. I mean, I don't know for sure if everything's going to be like just set in stone. I could see a lot of different things happening. I think that a lot of people could still win this game. I mean, looking at it right now, I actually think the 3 people that I think have the best chance right now, based on the edit that we're seeing, are Cassidy, Carla, and Sammy. I really do believe that. I think Cassidy is your Erica. I think Carla is your super relevant, playing great, and could actually win, whereas I feel like Jesse's playing really, really great, but his edit is just too perfect, where Jesse ain't winning. Like, he's going to be in it for a while. He's definitely a finale player. He will make it to the final 5. I feel very confident in saying that. But he's not going to win. His edit's just too perfect. So, yeah, looking at the grand scheme of things, yeah, I really do think Lindsay honestly just shot herself in the foot. I think it was going to be Gio. I think that tribe, like, just most of the women and even James to some extent, it seems like James kind of wants to work with the women. I feel like all 4 of those 4, the women plus James, trusted Gio and Ryan the least before Lindsay did everything that she did. And Ryan was just, I guess, too useful in challenges, where I feel like, when you're on these really small tribes, like, yeah, sure, there's that whole like um, unintentional Tandang or intentional Matt Singh thing that Peridium like to talk about. This theory that when seasons start off with 3 tribes, when you lose more, you're picked up as a number and it can actually help you. Whereas if you're the tribe with the most numbers going into the merge and you're not able to control the whole game, then you're easy boots. And I actually think that this could maybe bond bond the Vessi tribe and the Baka tribe, where I think that they're going to be able to stick together enough so where you have at least Jesse and Sammy making it super far in the game, with Sammy potentially actually winning the game based on the edit that we're seeing. Based on positioning, I think Jesse's actually in a better spot than Sammy. I just think based on the edit that we're seeing, Sammy seems like a bit more obvious of a winner. I still think Owen could maybe win. He maybe doesn't even crack top 5 for most likely to win for me, but maybe he does. Maybe he's like bottom-ish of that. So yeah, I feel like, so yeah, we have Lindsay being, this is just a classic case. And like, as someone who's played a lot of orgs, I know that this is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. Checking in with your allies way too much. Because if you don't check in with your allies enough, it makes them skeptical of you potentially that there's other things brewing. But if you are just a little bit too persistent and saying over and over again, are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Then they don't trust you anymore. And so maybe the target is getting targeted because they're bad in challenges or because you didn't trust them as much initially. But if an ally of yours pisses you off and is skeptical of you, maybe it's better to keep the desperate person around rather than the needy person around. You know what I mean? So I think that's the other layer to this. And I think that's ultimately when Lindsay just fell short of. I think she just didn't fully comprehend all of the ropes necessary to make it to the merge in a Survivor game. And I think that just trusting people is enough is enough a lot of the time just to get through one vote. And like, this might be the only tribal council that Coco goes to. I think there's a strong chance this tribe will maybe never lose again, largely just because I just don't see any of them really going home. I think that Cassidy is someone that could still win. I think Cassidy's someone they're just like, the editors are just kind of hiding from us. Carla, they're not hiding, and I think she's going to do well. James, I think, is going to be in it for a little bit. I don't think he has anything to worry about. They just haven't showed enough of James, where I feel like he's getting a lower edit now. His edit's going to pick up, and then he's going to go home near the end. I think that's kind of what we're seeing with James. See, who have I not talked about? Noelle, I didn't think was super relevant in this episode. I mean, with the NECA boot, she could have potentially gone home. And I think Noelle having that steal a vote now, that they didn't go to tribal council, so the dynamics haven't really changed. But I mean, we could be seeing a really interesting tribal council if that Vessi tribe goes. I've already talked about this, but I think that if that tribe goes to tribal council, it could be a very interesting vote. I mean, like, Cody can just whip out his idol, and they'd probably, like, if Dwight is actually with Noelle, or if Noelle's just on an island of her own, either way, I think that they'd probably want Cody gone. So you could potentially be seeing a correct idol play. You could see anyone potentially being in danger. I think there's a lot of potential there. So that's how I feel about that. So yeah, Gio stayed. Gio originally targeted Cassidy. It wasn't a great look for him. You know, they didn't make him look phenomenal in this episode, but he survived. I mean, he did survive, and I actually think him just surviving makes him look good to some capacity. And, like, not for nothing, Lindsay's edit did seem a little bit suspicious in these past few episodes, and where, like she seemed like a little bit confrontational. But for some reason, I thought that it was just, like, her being sarcastic with her tribe mates, and then seeing her in a different light than the editor was portraying. But I feel like every time that we cut to Lindsay, she would, like, say something, like what's the word? Like, confrontational, or just like impulsive, I guess you could say. I don't know. So I think that, yeah, like, they gave us hints, but I don't think Lindsay was on the outs on this tribe at all. I think it was going to be Gio, and I think that Lindsay also ultimately just shot herself in the foot. And if Lindsay was going to be the boot this time, and it was supposed to be Gio originally, I don't know why it wouldn't be Gio next. So I'm thinking they probably just don't lose again, with maybe, like, them just never losing again, or maybe Gio restores trust with them, and then they lose right before the merge, or then Ryan goes home. Because based on the edit that we're seeing, there's nobody on that tribe that I could see going home other than Ryan in the pre-merge. but that would just come so out of left field. Like, why would it just magically, be Gio, Cassidy's name is in the mix, and then it just jumps to Lindsay, Lindsay goes home, and then Ryan's name randomly comes up. I think that they felt like they needed Ryan for challenges, though. I think from a social standpoint, I don't think he's super connected on that tribe. So maybe if they suspect a merge and they lose right before the merge that they suspect, maybe he is just going to go home. It's possible. I think it's very possible. So yeah, I could see that happening. So yeah, what else should I talk about here? Yeah, we talked quite a bit about Gio. Janine had another quiet episode. Janine, even when she gets coverage, or it's like screen time, I don't feel like we're getting a ton from her. James, I think, is someone who is edits really going to pick up, actually. I think James is someone who could potentially be a bigger character on this season than we're seeing right now. I think James is just kind of being shown as like, okay, he is a big character, but he's boring right now. But later on, he's going to be a little bit more relevant in the game. And I think for right now, James just isn't very important in the narrative that we're seeing. So I think that we could be seeing more from him later on. Okay. Yeah, Carla had your typical episode with her. I feel like the personality that we've seen of Carla hasn't really changed. I think she's going to be in it for a while. So based on the people that I actually think could go far now, I think that my opinions on things haven't really changed drastically. I'm trying to think here. Like, I'm going to go through the list and say how far I think they'll make it. Gio, I think, is going to be in it for a very long time. Janine, I think, is going to go home soon. James, I think, is going to make it mid-merge. Carla, I think, is going to be in the final four. Jesse, I think, is going to be in the final five. I'm not saying Jesse's going to go home at the final five and Carla's going to go home at final four. I'm just saying that Jesse makes at least final five. Carla makes at least final four. Cody, I think, is making it to the end potentially. I think Cody's going to make final five. So yeah, Carla, Jesse, and Cody all making final five. And then I think Gabler is going to go home sooner than people think. Even though he's a bigger personality, I just don't know. Dwight is going to go home early merge. Maybe even before the merge. Maybe at Mergatory he'll go home. Sammy, I think, can win. I actually think Sammy has the best chance of winning right now, so I think Sammy wins. Ellie goes home early merge. I don't see it in the way how other people do. There's a lot of people that think she's going to win, but the problem with Ellie winning is she's a villain. Usually villains don't win, but when they do, the editors try and trick us into making them think they're not as big of villains. Like, we kind of saw that with Wendell. I think Wendell's a great example of that, where they made Wendell look really good in Ghost Island, and they made him look like this villain in Winners at War. And that's probably because Wendell had a lot more villainous attributes. Where if Ellie was actually going to win, I think that she'd get like a bit more positive content. She has gotten some positive content, absolutely. Those two bigger confessionals where she was talking about her sister and she was talking about the self-doubt that she carries. I think that she's someone who would probably be getting more positive screen time if she was actually going to win the game or come close to winning the game. So I actually think Ellie's going to go home early merge, maybe a hot take. Owen, big question mark. I don't know. I think he's going to do very well. I think he's going to make it very far, but that's like kind of just a prediction at this point. It's kind of hard to know. There's a lot of people that I think could do well. I think Cassidy is kind of in a good track to potentially win, but she could also easily go home at like Mergatory area. Ryan's going home in the next few episodes. Like, he might make Mergatory, but I think he's actually going to go home at that point if he's there. And if he gets through that and makes merge, he'll be an easy vote at that point. Noelle, same thing. She's going to go home soon. Mergatory, I think she could potentially go home. Early merge, I think she could potentially go home. So, like, looking at it right now, I'm thinking, like, Janine pre-merge, and then maybe Ryan pre-merge as well. And then, like, Noelle going home, like won't make the official merge. She'll go home Mergatory. Then you have, like, Cassidy going pretty far, Owen going pretty far, Sammy going pretty far, Gabler going pretty far, Cody, Jesse, Carla. I think that's your final seven, actually. Carla, Jesse, Cody, Gabler, Sammy, Cassidy, Owen. I think that might be your final seven with maybe Geo going at 8 with Geo, or maybe like one of those bigger edited people will get blindsided at that point, and then Geo can maybe make it a little bit further. But with Ellie, I just know. I think Ellie's 100% making merge with the edit that she's getting, but she's going to actually go home pretty early at that point. That's just what I think based on what we're seeing. I don't know. Because they haven't given her a super positive edit. And and then there's those other people like James and Dwight. They're just kind of harder to read. Really, they've edited this season pretty interestingly. Where I actually feel like while I'm talking right now, I'm eating my words. Where I said James is going to be in it for a while, and then now I'm saying contradicting myself and saying is he even going to make it to the merge? It's very interesting where there's some people that are getting under edited, but their edit is going to kind of just hit a massive spike potentially, and there's some people that are getting a lower edit because I think they're not going to do well. I think that's what Janine is. I think that's why Janine has gotten minimal content. I feel kind of a similar way with Ryan, but Cassidy hasn't gotten much, and I still think she could easily win the game. And there's also people like James who, the biggest question mark on the board I think in terms of longevity. I mean, he's not going to win the game, but I think there's the most placements that I think he could potentially get. All right, so I don't think I have anything else really to say. We didn't get any advantages or idols this episode that were actually found. Last time I checked. I don't think I forgot about anything. So yeah, I think that's all my basic thoughts. I like this episode a lot more than the last one. There was a bit more character drive. Lindsay's downfall I thought was really interesting, especially since I think it was a big Edgic blindside. It really didn't seem like there was Lindsay's first episode. What was that? That did not correlate at all with her longevity. After the first episode that she got, 15th place is what she gets. Really? So that really did kind of surprise me. But yeah, looking at the grand scheme of things, I think that, I'll go through the list, I think, and whether I think they can win or not. Noelle can't win. Ryan can't win. Cassidy absolutely can still win. Owen, I definitely think, can win. Ellie cannot win. Sammy absolutely can win. Gabler cannot win. He could have longevity because he's getting this really weird edit where he could be potentially, getting, a massive, increase in his game. Could potentially, he could potentially be getting an underdog arc where he's looked kind of bad now, but he's going to be a king later on. I mean, I've hyped Gabler up so much this season, but he's someone who he's just not going to win the game. He's a character. He can't win. He's Gabler's maybe the least likely to actually win the game. Not talking about longevity. I'm talking about just winning the game. Dwight is going to go home pretty soon. Dwight is not winning the game. R.I.P. my winner pick, but he ain't winning. Cody's going to be in it for a while. Cody's not winning, though. He's a character. And he's going to be in it for a while, I think, but he's not going to win the game. Jesse, I don't think can win. Potentially a hot take. Carla absolutely can win. James, I don't see it. Janine cannot win, and James, I don't think will win the game. And Geo, small chance. There's a chance. I see it, sort of, that there's maybe a chance that he could win, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think we're looking at a Cassidy, Carla, or Sammy win. Owen could win, question mark. So that's just kind of how I feel right now. There's some people that are getting a lot of content because they're going to be in it for a while and could win the game and maybe will win the game. Or we're going to see the winner of this season is going to be a bit more Erica-esque where we're not getting much from them. Cassidy could still win because I really do think that. Or maybe I'm totally overthinking it and maybe we're getting a more similar win to Marianne's win where, Marianne got a ton of content in the original episode, and maybe Jesse and Carla is your obvious winner. That could be the case. So I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. I think there's going to be 2 more episodes before Mergatory, so I'm curious to see what 2 tribes will lose. Curious to see whether it'll be the same 2 tribes twice, or it's going to be 2 different tribes. It doesn't seem like Coco's going to go back to Tribal Council. I think maybe Baka loses and somehow Janine goes home. But what I would also love to see, or also maybe Vesey goes and then Dwight goes home in some crazy way. But what I would also love to see too is I would love to see out of left field, there's a lot of likable people on this cast, so I think that the editors should really just trust their audience that we'll be okay with this. I would love to see some player that's in a great spot and is getting edited beautifully and seems like they could win just randomly going home, and we're what? How did this happen? Somebody just having a randomly bad episode after having such amazing content. I mean, I think it would be really, really cool, even though it would maybe be really sad to see to see like Sammy just randomly go home, or Gabler just randomly go home after he plays his idol at the next vote and then they lose again and he goes home, or Cody going home out of left field. Some way is an idol, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Or like Carla going home even though she's positioned really well, or like Jesse somehow going home because using like Dwight sides with Noel and then they split the votes and then they put 2 votes on Cody, 1 vote on Jesse, and then Cody's vote gets stolen. Jesse votes Noel, and then Dwight casts the sole vote in the revote, and he votes Jesse out. Like, that would be epic. Like, it would be really cool to see somebody who's looked really well leading up to this point go home out of left field. However, I don't think that's going to happen because editors tend to not trust their audience in that way, where they kind of just want the pre-merge boost to all be a bunch of people that either you don't like for some reason because they're given a little bit of villainous content, or they're just irrelevant. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of the name of the game. But that happens. I really do appreciate it when that does happen. Like, we saw that with JD in Survivor 41. He seemed like his edit was just like he's like the one of the most relevant people there. And he goes home in the pre-merge, and he wasn't on jury. You never saw him again. So I think it's really cool when that happens, but it probably won't. So yeah, that'll be all for me. I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. So with that being said, I am JPB Productions. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.